Do you guys want to tell us all real quick about your characters, just a little bit?
Sure. I'm Chris Connor. I play an artificial intelligent life form named Edgar Allan Poe.
Of course.
Of course.
As you do.
As you do. And I'm Marta Higareda, and I play Detective Kristen Ortega.
Okay.
I am Renee Goldberry. I play Kelchrist Falconer, and she is the leader of the uprising.
The showrunner showed us a poster of you in the. Or wait, was that the leader of the new uprising or the old uprising?
The old uprising.
Oh, it's the same.
Yeah,
But
same uprising. Yeah,
So same uprising.
Yeah, we saw. Yeah, so we saw.
I was like, is there another one?
Well, I mean, there could be a clone. You guys could like clone battle. Like,
it can really happen in this world. Yeah.
Could you like do that? Could you take a stack and copy it, and then put the same 2 stacks into 2 different clones, and then you have
Wait
2?
until you watch the show.
And that's the third act.
Well, I'm gonna go.
How does it work with Poe? Like, do you talk like Edgar Allan Poe?
Yeah. So the artificial intelligent life form that I play has chosen the persona for a reason that is revealed during the season of the show, and it just so happens I haven't seen anybody in 47 years until Kovacs walks through my door in my hotel.
In your AI hotel.
Yeah.
Okay.
But everything in the hotel is me.
Okay.
It's out there.
Yeah.
What, are we sleeping in you? As a
Yes.
bed?
Yeah.
That's
Wait,
kind of
the bed
uncomfortable.
is you?
Everything
You're
in the
bed,
hotel
you're
is
the
me.
bathroom? How about the toilet?
So sure.
But do you talk back to us as we're using you?
Couldn't be. Yeah. Services end at one point. Yes.
Is that like a comic relief for the show, just like the old Star Trek?
I haven't seen an audience with the show on yet, so I don't know if it's funny.
Oh, we laugh a lot.
We're hoping so.
In the book, your character is not really around in the first novel, and they reconfigured that to make you a more prominent role. Did you read the book at all before?
Yes.
Yeah. So,
but I'm in these situations quite often where there's a world created based upon a book, and I always find it most helpful to be involved in the actual script because there's always like the slightest details that change, and specifically for very useful dramatic reasons. In this instance, Kel is, like I said, the leader of the uprising, and she's a lot of other things she actually has a lot of responsibility for this dystopia that the world that we live in. But in this season, you really see her as a tool for our hero. You really see him use her in the most heightened moments to, for his ability to find the true mystery, for his ability to stay in this world when he wants to leave it. Like the most extreme moments, he really calls on her in this way, which is quite beautiful.
What does she want?
What does she want? Oh my God, that's such a good question. In where we live at this moment, what she wants is for him to keep living. What she wants is for him, because she is gone in this moment, she wants him to look always beneath what he sees and really be his highest self. She wants him to be the envoy that she trained him to be, and to find the real mystery underneath the mystery, if you will, in this season, in this story. It's I think one of the most beautiful things about this very, very dark world is that there is a love story that really parallels through the whole thing, and I think it's what I think is really beautiful about Lita's work, is that there is a poetry involved in some very disturbing moments, and I think that makes it I think that's what makes it beautiful.
Sorry.
Your character deals with one of the core themes of the books and series. I mean, Kovac is put into the body of Ortega's ex-partner, but she still develops a relationship with him. So it's this link between how much of the spirit remains in the body and vice versa. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's so interesting and fascinating to me to play that character and that specific love triangle that is happening within the same person, the same body. So it is, this is the body of the love of my life, but at the same time, I'm getting to know this other man who is inhabiting this body and whose code of honor and bravery and all these wonderful values that I start seeing in him makes my character be confused.
I bet.
If it could happen in real life, can you imagine how confused that is and messed up in a very awesome way for me as an actress, to because it is the same body, it's the same gestures, the same things, but at the same time it's this other person. So this is like a hate-love relationship that happens too. Yeah.
What did you find most interesting in either the book or the script in terms of the philosophical issues it tackles? Because there are some quite big themes in there, I guess.
The philosophical,
Yeah.
I think something that's very interesting to me is that with my family and Ortega's family is that they are neo-Catholics. So there's this whole talk about what happens to the soul if you're able to live forever. Then what happens to the natural course of life and death? Are you going to go to heaven, or are you not? Or are you playing God with using this technology? So there's always this underlining theme, happening around this subject and the world, and to me it's fascinating because these are questions that we normally ask anyway. What is the soul? Is there another life you live? No. What happens, and it's in the show as well.
I think it's interesting. We live with this kind of fear of death in general. It's always there. Somebody said to me in a car the other day, any minute the earthquake's going to come and everybody in Vancouver's going to be under. I'm like, what? I hope it doesn't come while I'm shooting. It's kind of crazy. It's always there. That's something that's always there. And we don't talk about it a lot, but clearly we're fascinated by it. Clearly, death, is pervasive in our art forms and everything, and yet we created this world where it doesn't exist. And my character, at least, recognizes very clearly the need for it. And is trying to to put death back into the world, because without it, we get to see what could happen. And I find that really fascinating. It's just a paradoxical shift on our relationship with death as human beings. Yeah. If it's gone, this appreciation for it, I think it's really fascinating.
Also, not everybody can live forever in the show, especially the people that could. Well, I mean, you live forever. But it's the Mets.
Yeah, the upper class in this world has dominated for so long, and there might be some reflection in our world now.
You think?
And then that's why, at the end of the day, we're talking about it's all Shakespearean, right? These are universal themes that we've touched on through literature.
Since the Bible.
Yeah.
Before the Bible, yes.
What is a man if his chief good and market of his time be but to sleep and feed? It's Hamlet sitting there asking himself, is this it? Do I exist outside of this body? Well, if you could actually physically get outside of that body, what does that mean? Or am I just a computer? Can I possibly feel free like a human to die, to love? And all of this is told in the gray areas of Lita's mind, which is the best part, because it's not simple storytelling. I think that's also the beautiful evolution of sci-fi we were just talking about, is that we've reached a point where it's the genre of sci-fi is just the storytelling technique, but the writing has gotten so good, the character development is so good. We're talking about something universal and great. We're talking about Dickens. We're talking about Poe and Shakespeare. It's the reason that we all ended up saying yes to the show is because it's not a normal television show. What cast is this diverse on television? I mean, we have strong female leads of color in everything. Mm-hmm. I think I'm the only white American guy, which is weird.
You're playing a computer.
And I'm playing a computer. Yeah.
There's a good
That's
metaphor.
yeah, exactly. Sorry.
But it's a beautiful kind of diversity. It's international.
Yes.
And that's where the world is right
it's
now.
Not, it's not even just like sometimes we want to say diverse, and we're. I mean, as an American, we're in this like group of people that live in this country diverse.
Yeah.
As opposed to this kind of world definition of it. And that's what's beautiful about Netflix as well, is that this is not for a market in a certain,
Yeah.
for a demo in a market. This is for 190 markets all around the world. You know, this is how does this play in Germany? How does this play in Asia? How does this play in,
And you were saying earlier, it's like you have a scene where someone's speaking Spanish and Arabic
Oh
at the
yes,
same time.
it's a beautiful scene. Yeah, and people understand each other. You know, it's that
It's
type of
world.
world.
It's-
Because we had a lot
There
of
you go.
tequila, so then it flows easy. No, and then some people speaking Vietnamese, and then there's Russian, and then there's all these different languages, because that's what Lita envisioned in this world, and this is.
And not to mention that Joel will just start talking to Martin, our DP, in Swedish, and that's not even in the show. So cool.
But that's him showing.
It's beautiful that it forces us even as a team to kind of, because I'm sure we would all consider ourselves very progressive and liberal and all these things, and yet we find ourselves in storytelling moments where we think, wait a minute, hundreds and hundreds of years from now, would we still have the same hang-ups about homosexuality? Would we still have this? These are things that we're trying to expand. How would we feel so far in the future? How can we break even where we are so that we can tell a story that would be accurate to what that group of people might feel so far from now? It's a beautiful thing to be able to talk about what love is outside of what these two bodies are. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We have an opportunity to do that in this genre, in this world, without making any political statements whatsoever, and just talking about love.
So what would you say is, from Edgar Allan Poe's perspective at least, the difference between an AI and a person at this point? Because a human is just...
I think I find that out on the show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So it'll be fun.
Ladies, what do
journey
you
to get
think
there.
then the difference is between AI and humanity in this future, when you're basically ones and zeros in a spinal column that you just can plug and play into whoever?
So interesting. I love this. So it seems like so many shows start with somebody inventing something for good, and then it gets into the bad people's hands, and then we have this world, and now the person that started for good is trying to stop the person. We do that so often. What I love, I don't get to work with Chris very often, unfortunately, if at all.
I don't think we see each other.
At number ones, we're so opposite. I think we're
Yeah.
probably two polar opposite characters. What I love about this particular world is that we have like this kind of matrix world where this AI is this huge threat and fear, and even when we're introduced to you, it's the reason why he hasn't seen a human being in 47 years is because no one's stupid enough to go to your hotel. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so there's this beautiful thing is that that's the surprise is that one of the most interesting and most supportive relationships for our hero is this hotel, and that this character isn't so much a threat. I don't know. I won't spoil. I don't actually know. So I love the fact that we have a real fear, I think, right now about this idea of artificial intelligence, and it's kind of coming into consciousness and what that would mean, the threat that would mean to us as humans. And I think sci-fi explores that a lot. Mm-hmm. And I don't know that we really do that in this show. We actually let this artificial intelligence support us, and we are actually, I feel like when we do that, we let ourselves off the hook a little bit as humans. And in this world, we don't let ourselves off the hook. We really take responsibility that we are the problem, and this is still trying to help us work out our own crap.
Yeah.
And it's kind of beautiful.
In the show, are the lines of good and evil clearly drawn, or is there a big gray area where they're kind of...
It's an awesome gray.
Yeah, it's
an
beautiful
awesome
gray. Because
gray.
also, it explores what it is to be alive for 250 years, like in the case of Bancroft. That we call them Mets, all these people who've been alive for so long.
Methuselah from the Bible, yes.
Mm-hmm, from the Bible. And it's interesting because, it creates the question of, do you become a better person, more spiritual, or do you feel like you need to go deep and explore these other
dark
raw
avenues of the
areas
human consciousness.
of being human, and that, so then that line, it's always like, you know, in this show I love it because whenever you think it's going to be, oh, it's going to cross that line to this is evil, then you find the humanity in that, and then you're like, oh, okay, no, it's not, because there's never, you know, good or evil as it is as itself.
We have time for one more question.
Well, this is maybe one of the most immersive set visits that I've been. So, which was your first reaction when you saw the sets and the scale of it?
I think I peed a little bit.
We're good.
Okay, we're done here. Ortega, out.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Carrie, who built the sets, who designed it, is he's a mad scientist, and in the best possible way. I think you guys might have met him earlier.
Yeah, he walked us through it all.
Yeah.
Gandalf.
And the specificity of the Raven, like being able to, you know, the floor is like MC Escher.
Yeah.
Because originally one of my identities was Escher, 150 years ago. I've gone through different personality changes. So just how that all manifested in his mind, and plus no one gets all the toys that we got here.
Oh my God.
It's such a beautiful, huge world.
The flying cars.
It's
So I think
I'm still waiting for the
Yeah.
flying cars in real life.
that's kind of the beauty. As amazing as what we have here just in Vancouver in terms of the sets will you know, there'll be an unplugged quality as well as this kind of really awesome kind of built quality to this world. And then on top of that, in post, there will be something that takes us beyond our imagination, and that's something that we're waiting to see. We get glimpses of it. We have there's renderings of it. I mean, I know that we all walked into, I think in the very beginning, this trailer that had 300 cameras in it. And we just stood in there. We had to stand like this, and it shot at us from every single angle. And then we had to there was a book that said, make a smiley face, make a this face. We had to make several different faces, and they just shot us. Because I guess at some point we're completely unnecessary when they start taking these pictures and images and animating it. Who knows? But it's
Very BoJack Horseman of you.
Exactly. So slightly threatening, but very but it's exciting to see these different teams and different talents come together to tell the same story and to see what that turns into.
especially, and the basis of our childhoods were, I saw Star Wars when I was 5.
Yes.
I saw Alien when I was 6.
See, exactly. So these are
What's wrong with your parents?
No, I stole the VHS. I stole the VHS.
Good question.
What's wrong with my...
But there's this moment of being a child of sci-fi. You know,
Yeah.
we all, I think we all are.
Yeah.
And then we get to play in one of the best worlds ever created.
Yeah.
So it's just cool.